As you all know, Shedeur Sanders is the most humble football player on earth.
You know who my dad is?
You're the rank game. You wait. Let's go back.
Congratulations on the win.
Legendary.
Okay, maybe not so much at all. Shedeur Sanders is the youngest son of former NFL football and MLB baseball player Deion Sanders. Yeah, it's quite obvious where Shedeur got his arrogance from. After playing 4 years as a quarterback in college, including at Jackson State and the University of Colorado, Deion's son Shedeur put his name in for the 2025 NFL Draft. Originally, he was widely expected by most to be a top 5 draft choice, where some even thought he would be the #1 draft choice.
Shedeur Sanders, he might go 3. He might go 2. Vegas had it 8.5. We thought he was going to go to the Saints.
His daddy was the 5th pick.
Yeah.
So he wants to go 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And teams are passing up on him one after the other. Being drafted in the 5th round, I didn't see that one coming. I've never seen anything like it. Nothing like it.
Pick after pick, round after round, and no one showed any interest in him, except this prank caller.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
Yeah, but you're going to have to wait a little longer, man.
He gets pranked by an Ole Miss kid who got the number from the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, snaked it off his dad's iPad.
This caused everyone to speculate, what did the arrogant Shedeur Sanders say and do behind closed doors when he was being interviewed by each NFL team? The truth is finally coming out, so we're gonna break it down and go inside the arrogant mind of Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's get started. First, I live in Colorado. I'm a Colorado fan. I graduated from the University of Colorado multiple times, so I have nothing personal against Shedeur or Deion Sanders. Matter of fact, I very much like that they improved the Colorado football program. Deion Sanders is an NFL Hall of Famer, Power 5 college football head coach, a CBS football commentator, NFL Network analyst, and personally knows just about everyone in the NFL. Players, coaches, general managers, and owners. Him and Jerry Jones, owner and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, are basically best buddies.
So what's it going to be, Deion? Football or baseball?
Both, boss.
Both?
Pizza Hut.
Meat lovers or stuffed crust pizza? Both. Both.
So they personally know just about everyone in the league.
It's legendary. So you think this look better?
That shit hard, bro.
On draft day, Shedeur had a $100,000
Man, that had to be $1 million.
This is a first round chain.
custom diamond-encrusted chain made just to wear for this draft day event.
I'd be mad if I went somewhere and I can't play my own music, bro. I don't listen to nobody else's music besides the family, bro.
Imagine being so arrogant and such an apparent narcissist that the only music you enjoy listening to is your own. Shedeur threw this massive catered tent party at Deion Sanders' home in Texas, where legendary was apparently the theme.
But I'm watching his draft room and the word legendary is all over the draft room. I'm like, can we just pull the temperature down a little?
He had a media room built specifically just for this event that had the word legendary written all over it.
Legendary draft room. We could see that was a bit cringe.
He hired people on stilts dancing dressed up, looking like disco balls with also disco balls on their heads, holding up signs that said legendary. The word legendary was written everywhere in his draft party tent while also listening to his own music. Can't make this shit up.
You gotta put legendary everywhere. How about you play a game? One!
And after sliding all the way to the 5th round of the draft, what's the best word to describe what happened?
Legendary.
Arrogant narcissists are often blinded to how others perceive them because their self-image is both inflated and fragile, a paradox fueled by deep insecurity. To protect that fragile core, they create a grandiose identity and surround themselves with people and messages that reinforce it, such as the word legendary written everywhere and him saying it constantly over and over.
Legendary.
Psychologically, this leads to selective attention, focusing only on praise and ignoring anything that challenges their self-view. Instead of adapting or reflecting on the feedback, the narcissistic mindset often reinterprets any doubt as just hate, which to them adds to their proof of greatness.
I guarantee he goes to the Raiders.
The one team that really surprised me who did not take him was the Raiders, because Tom Brady's now in charge. Tom Brady has known Shedeur Sanders a long time. He has helped mentor him. He knows him. How many times did they pass on him?
Tom Brady is widely considered the best quarterback in NFL history. And yeah, he personally coached Shedeur one-on-one. He knows him and his father personally, and now Tom Brady owns part of the Las Vegas Raiders, who kind of need a quarterback.
All I was thinking was Brady mode, that's it.
He's been a mentor of yours?
Yeah, of course, yeah, we talk after every game. I'm sure he's going to text me in a second. Brady mode, if he could do it, I know I could do it, and, you know, we just alike. Tom Brady, he's an all-time great. Being able to have that resource, being able to have that person I'm able to talk to and call.
However, in this draft, the Raiders eventually drafted a quarterback. But it wasn't Shedeur. They passed on him too. Deion Sanders with all of his nearly infinite connections to the NFL, Shedeur with all of his personal connections through his father, and still no team wanted Shedeur Sanders to play for them. Pick after pick after pick. When even your friends and people who know you best don't want you, that's when you know you really messed up. The NFL is in the business of winning, and Shedeur was considered a decent quarterback in this year's draft. However, there's apparently something that Shedeur did during the process and behind closed doors that literally pissed off all 32 NFL teams.
This is the first one in recent memory that turned everyone off. Like, this was universal.
But for Shedeur to fall from a top 5 draft choice all the way down to pick number 144, he basically pissed off every single NFL team. Because even if a team wasn't looking for a quarterback that year, they would still pick him if they saw an actual highly desirable top 5 draft choice that was undrafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. And they would just use him in a trade. The fact that Shedeur was not selected until round 5 of 7, every NFL team had a chance to draft him at least 4 times, but each time the individual team said, pass, we don't want him. That's actually quite, what's the word?
Legendary.
To piss off that many coaches, general managers, and team owners, many of which him and his father personally know. The stories just keep coming of these epically bad interviews with NFL teams.
A lot of the anonymous sources from the meetings are saying worst meeting of all time. Not even close. Headphones on.
There were multiple people who did not like Shedeur Sanders' attitude.
Being unprofessional, being unprepared.
The worst formal interview I've ever seen in my life. Horrible body language, blames teammates. Biggest thing is, he's just not that good. He kind of makes you feel small.
You start to hear these stories that he's doing a FaceTime while he's in an interview.
In a meeting with the Giants, he allegedly got up on the board, wasn't fully prepared for an install, and it sounded like it got tense.
Basically said to teams, look at the tape. I don't need to be working out.
Those were the people he met with and clearly turned them off. What happened with the Giants of like, I don't need you, that never happens. The way he's acting, like he would be an immediate turnoff to any human being.
Imagine you're interviewing someone for a job and the prospect shows up with over-the-ear headphones on their head. Then during the interview, they pull out their iPhone and start FaceTiming their friends. What would you do if someone did that when you were interviewing them for a job?
You are drafting employees. Can we just go back in society where hard work matters and humility's not uncool?
And then when you ask them how they would handle real situations they may encounter on the job, they simply tell you to go look at the footage and then peace out saying legendary.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the coach, that don't give me. Change 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change the program again? You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people gotta say? You know who my dad is? I met with a lot of teams here. Yeah, it was easy meeting with people because I'm going to just be myself. So it's like, you either like it or you don't. Legendary.
Shedeur there was answering questions from the media at the NFL Scouting Combine.
Legendary.
Yes, he's acting quite arrogant, acting a lot like how his father acted. But the problem is that he's just not as good as his father was. Also, the quarterback position requires more humility and team leadership.
Maybe dad didn't help him out. You need a lot of things from a quarterback that you don't need from other players. Maturity, focus.
Many confuse arrogance with confidence, but they're not the same at all. Arrogance often masks deep insecurity. Neurologically, this arrogance is often linked to an overactive amygdala in the brain. This is the part that processes fear and threat. Why does my brain keep falling apart? Anyway, when that part of my brain here that fell apart is overactive. Constructive criticism can feel like an attack, triggering defense, arrogant reactions to protect their fragile ego. In Shedeur's case, his behavior during NFL interviews likely raised red flags for coaches and GMs. NFL teams are just like any other employer. They don't just draft talent. They also draft mindsets. Arrogance indicates a closed mind in a league that demands constant growth and self-reflection. Understanding the difference between confidence and arrogance is crucial, especially for a quarterback. Ever hear the saying, confidence is quiet, insecurities are loud? If Shedeur came across as entitled or dismissive during interviews with teams, teams would question his ability to lead grown men, many of whom are 10-plus year veterans with families of their own. These are not college sophomores, juniors, and seniors, when your dad is also the coach like he had in Colorado. But in the NFL, he needs to earn the veterans' respect. And Deion Sanders said this in a TV interview.
You have said that if the right team does not pick him, that you will intervene.
That's my son. You got a child that's going into an occupation that you already dominated in. I'm not going to let my son get down in no foolishness.
What do you think that makes every NFL team think? Yes, are we going to be publicly trashed and humiliated by Deion if we pick his son?
The owners, billionaire owners,
yes,
will often say, well, this is a young man who should be making his own decisions. He's got this helicopter dad.
Not my son. It's not like who I would like for him to play for. It's a couple teams that I won't allow him to play for.
Which team wants to go through that?
This is my profession. I know what's behind the curtain.
And if he doesn't listen to you?
Who?
When quarterback Eli Manning was drafted in 2004, the Chargers picked him as the first overall pick. But his father Archie, who is a Hall of Fame quarterback, quickly orchestrated for him to be immediately traded to the New York Giants, making it clear that his son will not play for the Chargers.
Why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
We're not really giving details right now. We just, we've made our decision and that's what we're sticking to.
Which naturally humiliated the Chargers. Everyone remembers that, and no one wants to be humiliated again now by Deion. Additionally, Deion coached Shedeur literally his entire life.
Don't you ever do this. Do you understand me? Do you understand me?
All the way up through college, and even became his agent.
They didn't even hire an agent. And an agent would have been talking to teams and like, look, Shedeur, they're not viewing you, nearly as highly as we think.
All the teams know that drafting Shedeur Sanders is having to put up with the helicopter of all helicopter parents. They all surely and understandably believe that he will be calling the team's management and coaches, pressuring them to play his son, just like it's Little League or something.
His father retires his jersey number at Colorado. That is something that's really just not seen in major college football, how quickly it was done, and considering the lack of accolades in his career.
While also publicly criticizing the players, coaches, general manager, and owners.
I'm not going to let my son get down in no foolishness. With a lot of understanding on where my son is going. I was there for 14 years. I worked for the NFL Network for another 14, 15. I know what I'm doing.
And it's even more curious that the team that actually signed up for all of this is the Cleveland Orange Helmets, a team that was surely on Deion's shit list.
A couple teams that I won't allow him to play for.
Because even the Browns fans will tell you they're not the best run team in the league.
He is one of the handful of dysfunctional owners, and all of the problems in Cleveland come from him.
The GM seemed to have been forced to pick Shedeur by the owner.
Isn't reality in regards to Shedeur and Deion? Deion's not going to interfere. He's not going to be calling the coach. He's not going to be commenting about Shedeur while he's in Colorado.
Which is why the body language of the GM looks as if someone popped all of his balloons at his birthday party and even tried to play off their body language like they were just tired.
When we saw your guys' reaction, didn't look necessarily exuberant.
I think we're probably just tired from the weekend.
Those clips, it's not timed up to exactly the right
when
time.
We're actually
so I
making
wouldn't
a pick. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You have to time it up to the reaction. It was the reaction. What are they clapping for? Are they watching a basketball game?
Usually when a team selects a player in the draft, they high-five, chest bump, and cheer because it's a big win to get their selection to join their team. But not when they selected Shedeur Sanders. Everyone was slow golf clapping, while the GM clearly couldn't contain his excitement.
By all due accounts, seems like it was forced on them a little bit. There's no doubt.
To me, this is the owner intervened and said, we're in the 5th round. Let's take this guy
If it works out, it works out.
I think that makes a lot of sense that it was the owner.
Now, notice what the Browns GM says here.
Really, the acquisition cost was pretty light.
Imagine your boss introduces the new employee to you as, meet Sam. His acquisition cost was pretty light, so we hired him.
And I know he'll come in here ready to work, ready to try and put his best foot forward.
Sam is also going to try to put his best foot forward, so we're going to give him a shot here. Also, their tone, body language, and demeanor are all somber. It's like they're talking about a death in the organization, not an exciting new quarterback they just drafted to possibly lead them to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
It seems obvious they were pressured or maybe even forced to draft Shedeur Sanders by the apparent micromanaging team owner. They don't seem quite happy that Shedeur Sanders is now part of their team.
That's a wrap for day 2, folks.
As the final picks of the third round in the NFL draft are made, Shedeur watches, realizing that no NFL team wants him.
I'm not sure how many teams want that circus in the building as a backup. Nobody wants a celebrity backup quarterback.
It became quite sad because Shedeur is not a bad kid. He's just an ill-advised kid that learned to emulate his father, to act like a cocky, arrogant narcissist with a smile through the draft process because it worked well for his father.
It looks like you're wearing your signing bonus here. And plus we have we can see the nice primetime logo already, or what?
Yeah, we got sweatsuits started, jackets started, everything. We got it going on here. Everybody got on jury. Even the baby got a little something. We ready now. I was kind of scared. I thought Detroit was going to take me. I would have asked for so much money that I had to put me on layaway.
I got so much juice. My confidence offends your insecurity.
He looks up to his dad.
Yeah.
His dad is one of the greatest players of all time. And his dad can act however he wants.
Flashing lights on the dance floor.
Just like great players can always act however they want, because in a business like pro sports, there's only so many of them. His son was not that, and I think that really turned people off.
When you hear he sandbag interviews, that's what Dad did. Deion sandbag interviews. But Deion was an A+++ prospect, the best corner of all time.
Psychologically, this is textbook emulation. Children often model the behavior of a dominant parent, especially when that parent is highly successful and admired. Shedeur likely thought mimicking his father's persona would get him the same results. What he didn't realize is that quarterbacks are often judged on an entirely different leadership criteria. You can't just smile, flex, and talk your way into a franchise role, especially when you're expected to be the calm, coachable leader under pressure. Finally, in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, in pick 144 overall, Shedeur Sanders was drafted by the Cleveland Orange Helmets, a team that Deion probably didn't want Shedeur to play for.
The Cleveland Browns select Shedeur.
However, in the 5th round, Deion apparently realized that getting drafted by any team is better than not getting drafted at all.
Listen, thank you.
You know what that means?
Thank you.
What does that mean?
And seemed to be happy for his son. Helicopter parent style.
Is Mr. Barry there?
He is. You want to talk to him again?
Yeah, I would love to talk to him.
Yep. I got you.
GM Barry, get used to Deion Sanders calling you every day. Clearly, Shedeur got humbled through this process, and hopefully he learned that acting like an arrogant narcissist is only cute and acceptable if you're Deion Sanders. No one, not players, coaches, managers, or owners, want to be led by an arrogant kid.
I don't think we're ever going to see a draft fall like this again. We're talking about a guy who slid to the 5th round. They completely misread the room.
However, Shedeur certainly didn't disappoint us. His whole draft process was
legendary.
Now in the comments, do you think Shedeur Sanders learned his lesson to not be arrogant? Or do you think he'll go right back to being arrogant playing in the NFL? Let everyone know in the comments below. Subscribe for more. But the big question of all this really is Shedeur going to do the Shedeur in the NFL? Or has he moved past that? Has he become a little bit more mature? He's going to be doing the Shedeur in the NFL. See ya.